So this is an overview of what we are going to be talking about: TV digitization, why TV digitization, and then how ready are we? That is in an attempt to answer the question whether we are prepared. So TV digitization, and today is World Television Day. So this topic is very, very relevant. When you talk about the digitization of the TV, you are talking about sending and receiving TV signal in digital formats rather than the old method of radio format. It's not like the old radio format is no longer in use, especially in our space. Much of television in Nigeria is largely dependent on the old format of radio format. So, but where digitization has taken place, television is largely based on sending and receiving TV signal using digital formats. So again, this thing called digitization is actually about everything. It is about efficiency, and it opens up space for more creativity. The more digital you are, the more creative you are. Because the more digital you are, the more the space opens for you to think out of the box. It's like when you are in an analog space, you are boxed. So for you to break out of that box, you need to exist in a digital space. So why should we digitize? Is there any reason why we should digitize? Well, I have mentioned some of the reasons, but I think digitized information is easier to store, to access, and to transmit. So even for these reasons alone, we should digitize. Digitization is used by a number of consumer electronic devices that relate to TV. So TV has to digitize for it to align with existing technology of digitization. So you see, it is very, very important, especially for our industry, for us to leave analog and shift toward digitization. Otherwise, we would not be able to do most of the things that are happening in the digital space. We will not be able to easily store information, access information, or transmit information. So above all these reasons, the efficient use of spectrum is the main factor for analog TV switch off. So now the problem is, what is this spectrum? And why and how does it relate to TV? And that's the big question. Now, spectrum is not really visible, but it exists in the space. And it is characterized by frequencies. And these frequencies are occupied by various players in the industry. Television is one of those industries. Telecom is another, and so on and so forth. Aviation is one other, and so on. So many other industries use that same space. So which means that spectrum is very, very important to us. It is given to us by God to use for this purpose. In the years of analog, the spectrum has become so filled up because there is no way you can add or reduce the size of the spectrum. It's already done from day one. So, but over time, because of the proliferation of activities in television, in other aspects of human life that involve the use of the spectrum has become chopped up. So there is need for us to free the spectrum for us to be able to do so much more because human life evolves. And so the National Telecommunications Union decided that, look, the best way to go about this is to do some reforms. One of those reforms is to digitize television, because television alone is taking chunk of the spectrum. But when you digitize the spectrum, it becomes free for other players. So that led to that decision to move from analog TV to digital TV. So the world was at that point, kind of broken into regions. Each region made up of countries have their own dates within which they should shift to digitization. our own region in Africa, the last and final period for us to completely shift from analog to digital was last year, 2020. I know that some of you will be thinking that, well, whether we have moved or not, I don't know. Maybe we'll see it as we go on. But why is it important that we must move from being analog to being digital, especially in TV? Well, as for us, the thinking is that if television becomes, or perhaps the traditional TV as we know it, shifts from being what it is to being on a platform called DTT, it will free up a lot of the spectrum space for other players and even for TV itself to expand. So there will be possibility for high definition. There will be possibility for pay-per-view. Video on demand will be all over the place. Web TV will thrive. I just heard Ratao is going to launch its own channel online today. So without spectrum availability, Ratao, it may not be possible for you to have very good internet to play. So there will be possibility for internet protocol television, IPTV, and so on. So again, this will provide clearer picture and superior sound. And DTT, well, what is DTT? DTT meaning digital terrestrial television, offers more channels. So your transmitter that you know that has only one channel. For instance, my station has one transmitter, and the frequency of that transmitter is channel 5. If my station is to digitize, my station's transmitter will now be discarded. A digital transmitter would be in place. That digital transmitter has the capacity to offer more space to accommodate more channels. So by just that shift from that analog transmitter to the digital transmitter, we can have up to 25 more channels. So you can imagine 25 channels for each analog transmitter times the number of channels that we have that have analog transmitters. The space is massive. So the thing is, beyond that, DTT can be viewed on personal computers. You can also view DTT on your mobile devices. Using a split screen format, a computer user can surf the website while watching TV if migration from analog to digital TV is achieved. So let's quickly look at digital TV in Nigeria. I'm not going to be too detailed because I have limited time to speak. So, but you know, the journey started some years back in Jos and then in Abuja. Now, as we speak, about 10 state capitals are now switched on. But this journey started long ago. And in circulation, in Nigeria, made up of averagely 220 to 250 million people, only less than 5 million set-top boxes are in circulation. Many households in switched-on states are not even reached. And then television channels that have switched on are incurring costs because of what is known as dual illumination. Let me explain this. Dual illumination means that, yes, your channel, for instance, my channel in Lagos, for instance, could be, because of the switch over in Lagos that took place, could be on the DTT platform. But that doesn't mean that I will have to switch off my transmitter. So I will have my transmitter going, my analog transmitter running, as well as my channel being on the DTT. So you see, the spectrum is not freed. So that's the reason why they call it dual illumination, because I'm illuminating on analog as well as on DTT. So, but you know, federal government is making efforts, and so the current efforts of the federal government will ultimately switch off analog broadcast, because when this government came in, only two locations were switched on. Lagos, Abuja and Plateau State. Now we are within the region of about 10 states. So you can see that the shift is dramatic. So hopefully in the coming months, we should be seeing a lot more states being illuminated. I know that Kano was the last to be switched on. So are we ready in Nigeria? So let's bring down the question. Are Nigerian TV platforms and channels ready? So I think in Nigeria, we can straightforward say we are ready. For instance, no platform in Nigeria is analog, as far as I know. No platform is analog. So which is to say that DSTV is not analog. StarTimes is not analog. GoTV, all these are not analog, as far as I know. All right. But channels, several of these channels that we know, for instance, most of NTA channels are analog, largely analog. And so several other state-owned TV stations, privately run stations, and the rest of them are largely analog. Except if they are on these digital platforms, then that will digitize them. So you can see even NTA2 has gone ahead and have done so a lot. For instance, NTA is on DSTV, it is on GoTV, it is on StarTime. Even for that alone, it has digitized. But beyond that, NTA streams 247, NTA2 streams 247 at www.nta2.tv. It is also on its own mobile app. It is also available on the DSTV mobile app. All right. Besides that, NTA2 is available on YouTube and Facebook. So you can see that even NTA2 has moved. So you can comfortably say a lot of Nigerian channels are ready, majority are ready, and the platforms are completely there. So what about Nigeria, the Nigerian viewer? Is the Nigerian viewer ready? Well, I think the Nigerian viewer is ready, if you ask me. Because if you check patronage enjoyed by DSTV, GoTime, and StarTimes, it means that these businesses are thriving, they are enjoying patronage. So which means that those people who are patronizing them have also demonstrated the readiness to want to be with migration from analog to digital. And therefore, that's why they are identifying with the benefits enshrined in all these new technologies. So, well, if you further ask the question whether Nigerians are ready, if you know the number of mobile phones, for instance, that are available, let me just remove this. Smartphones owners in Nigeria, according to statistics, put together by World Bank, said that 3.6% of Nigeria's population own smartphones. These smartphones, not every phone, the smartphones only, not every kind of phone, but smartphones only. These phones are capable of doing one form of digital TV or the other, either receiving signal or processing the signal. That's an advanced thing, but that possibility is there. Now, if you check to see this, you see that this graph is showing you the penetration of internet, because it's a key factor. How internet becomes available to the user is also a key factor in digitization. But you can see that in 2021, it is projected by World Bank that 48.12% of Nigeria's population would have access to internet. And we are already in 2021, so you can assume that about half of Nigeria's population would have access to internet. So which means the Nigerian viewer is ready for digitization. Sorry, my slides are not working. I don't know why. Don't worry, I will go back to sharing. So those who think or who say I'm digital, they can see that it's not always true. All right, so we are still talking about Nigerian channels. Yes, like I said, many of them are ready. You can see this in the shift to their digital operations. You can see this in the shift to analog equipment being replaced by digital equipment. And for instance, since 2014, NTA has reconfigured its OB band from being fully analog to being fully digital. So you can see that actually practitioners are on the verge of actually moving forward, way ahead of the total migration from analog to digital TV in Nigeria. So NTA, by the way, started digital broadcasting in Nigeria since 2010, following the partnership with StarNet TV Network, which birthed NTA/Star TV Network. StarTimes is present in all the state capitals of Nigeria and in several other local government headquarters. So you can see that wherever StarTimes is, digitization has gone there. Wherever you see GoTV or DSTV, digitization has reached there. That's not all, because there are some other services, satellite services that are available to many Nigerians, and they are already enjoying those services. Netflix and the rest of them are all digital services. So therefore, Nigeria's space is ready for digitization, has been ready for digitization for long, actually. It's only DTT that has not manifested as having been completed. We are still moving, but rather at a very slow pace. So what about content? Now, this is a question I should be even pushing to Ratao, because many of the members of Ratao that are working either in TV or radio have one thing to do with content or the other. But frankly, Nigerian creative industry has proven its readiness long ago. We know what Nollywood has done to Nigeria in terms of revenue generation. We also know what other woods, Kannywood and the rest of the other woods that we know are doing. But also, if you check the internet, if you go to YouTube, if you go to Vimeo, if you go to Instagram, if you go to all these apps that have lots of video content, you will see what great content Nigerians are uploading and how popular are those platforms that Nigerians are running. So that tells you that Nigerians are ready to either produce content or to make content available for their own platforms. So the question again is television digitization. Well, I'm back to your digitalization. How prepared are we? So, and the question has already been answered that yes, we are actually prepared. So, happy celebrations, Ratao. And thank you for letting me in to speak on this very important topic.
Thank you.